Good afternoon. Welcome to the Paris Union High School District Regular Board Meeting of January 19th, 2022. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order, 2.1 at 3:31 p.m. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Freeman. Trustee Nelson is absent at this point, will not be attending. Trustee Rao is absent, and myself, Trustee Stafford, here. I have established a quorum. At this time, we'll have an invitation to address the Board of Trustees on closed sessions items only.
No takers to this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. So we're going to skip that part there. So at this time, we're going to adjourn the closed session. Item 4.1, adjourn the closed session. Do I have a motion? Okay, upon a vote being taken, the vote was 3 in favor, and with 2 absences. Well, yeah, and myself, I vote. Oh. Okay. Is this? It's on. It's on. No. Check. 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 Check.
James, can we turn the mic up a little bit? Test 1, 2.
Test.
There you go. That's better, right?
Can you hear? Can we hear?
Yeah.
Okay. So hello everybody. I'm Vice President Stafford, and for President Nelson tonight, we're going to reconvene. Item 5.1, reconvene in public session. The regular board meeting of January 19th, 2022 is reconvening at 5:05 p.m. Okay, 5:05. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'll have the invocation by Trustee Freeman. Please be seated. We now are going to recess into the California Military Institute meeting to conduct the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute Charter School, item 7.1. We are recessing the meeting at 5:08 p.m. So at this time, I'd like to call to order the California Institute meeting. Item 2.1, Okay. Item 2.1, we started the meeting at 5:08 p.m. No, 5:09 p.m. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Freeman. Trustee Nelson is absent. Trustee Arau is absent. Trustee Stafford, and I'm here. We have established a quorum. We'll move now to item 3.1, which is an invitation to address the Board of Trustees on closed session items only. Are there any public comments on closed session items?
No comments this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move to item 4.1. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session? Trustee Vallejo and Trustee Freeman. Please vote electronically. Upon the vote being taken, the vote is 3-2. Oh, three in favor with 2 absent. We are adjourning the closed session at 5:10 p.m. Okay. Hello, everyone. At this time, we're going to reconvene in public session. The California Military Institute meeting of January 19th, 2022 is reconvening at 5:23 p.m. So there was... oral reports if necessary. 6.1, report out of closed session.
No report out of closed session, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to item 7.1, revision and adoption ordering of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Please vote electronically. Upon a vote being taken, the vote is 3-0. 3 in favor, 2 absences. Oral reports continued. 8.1, student representatives of the Board of Trustees. Do we have any report? Yeah, okay.
Commander, and in this presentation, I'll be going over what's been happening here at CMI. Although we've been on Christmas break, our cadets continue to excel and achieve great things on and off campus. I'd like to start off by saying that our seniors have been on a roll this year. Starting the semester strong with FAFSA and college application submissions, we've been working really hard to start our journey towards higher education. Many of us have already started receiving acceptances. And speaking of high-achieving seniors, we recently recognized our newest student of the month, Jordan Nguyen. He's one of the top students in our class and is very deserving of this recognition. We always say that CMI students are the best in the state, and we truly mean that. Another fantastic achievement that occurred over the break was that I, one of CMI's proudest cadets, was selected as one of the 10 representatives on the California Department of Education's Youth Advisory Council. I will not only be representing CMI, but every region in Riverside County and even regions beyond it. As usual, CMI cadets are continuing to leave their mark by pursuing their passions and valuing education. On to our athletics. Our boys and girls varsity soccer teams have been playing really well and staying safe during their season so far. Our boys and girls varsity basketball teams are also doing really well, and we can't wait to see what they'll continue to do throughout their seasons. In regards to our JRTC related activities, we recently had some of our CMI cadets compete at the state level individual major awards. IMAs is an event where units throughout the state send their most diligent, intelligent, and squared away cadets to compete in 7 categories. Cadets give a speech, are interviewed, have their uniforms inspected, and take a written exam, specialized skills test, drills test, and PT test. Every cadet at this event was outstanding, so seeing every middle school cadet from CMI place was a very surreal moment. Nathan Havens is a 6th grader that placed 2nd in the first year division. Isaiah Espling is a 7th grader that placed 3rd in the junior NCO division. And Matthew Rodriguez is a 7th grader that placed in the first year division and was awarded for being the best junior overall cadet, meaning he was the best out of every single middle school competitor across all categories. Win or lose, every cadet that attends is positively impacted in some way, and I had the honor of witnessing that positive change in some of our outstanding middle school cadets. As I said in the last presentation, we haven't even breached the surface of all we plan to do this year. With your support, we hope to bring back our traditional overnight events such as Non-Commissioned Officer Academy and Officer Candidate School, and state overnight events such as the Marksman Competition, CERT Training, the Recondo event, and other CACC competitions. These overnight events are a huge part of the morale at CMI, and we want to do everything that we can to ensure that cadets don't have to miss out on these opportunities. In this slide are images of the NCOA that we had during our last in-person school year. These cadets walked away from this event with confidence, leadership skills, increased emotional intelligence, and newfound friends. Not only do cadets leave as a better version of themselves, but they also leave wanting to inspire others to do better for themselves too. Overnight events force a degree of camaraderie that day-through events just can't replicate. So again, I hope that you all are just as excited as we are about our upcoming overnight events. And as always, I think it's critical that I share the measures that have been put in place to ensure the safety of our cadets at overnight events. In preparation for all events, we plan a majority of outdoor training and readily available hand washing and sanitization stations. In enclosed spaces, we ensure that there is ventilation. There's also mandatory COVID screening, and anyone that presents with symptoms of COVID-19 within 36 hours of departure must report it and may not attend the event. With that, there are several wellness checks upon arrival and several medical stations available in order to minimize interaction between separated groups of cadets. To ensure that no outbreaks occur, there are regular health screenings, social distancing, masks indoors, and heavy sanitization of frequently used areas. We also have isolation and COVID contraction procedures in the unlikely event that a cadet tests positive or exposes other cadets to COVID. All in all, we don't want COVID-19 to take away any more from our cadets than it already has. So we have very strict guidelines and protocols to ensure the safety and welfare of our cadets. We're off to a great start this semester, and I hope that you all are just as excited as me to see what this semester brings. With that, I conclude my presentation on the California Military Institute. If there are any questions, please refer them to the adult representing CMI. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a fantastic rest of your evening.
Okay, thank you to CMI for the presentation. We'll go to item 8.2, President Angel Love Burns.
Ms. Behrens isn't here this evening.
Not present. We'll move now to 8.3, Principal's Update.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, Vice President Stafford. Board members.
With Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
You just can't see over you.
All right.
There.
All righty.
Presentation.
Okay, take two. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, President Stafford, board members, superintendent, and cabinet. It's great to be here with you today, and Happy New Year. Haven't seen you since last year. And I will go quickly through my very brief presentation, but I'm very excited to share some really cool things with you today. Of course, at CMI, we're very passionate about our students, our staff, but we're very much concerned about our students' progress when it comes to academics as well. Mr. Bruff was very clear about what objectives we had for this year, reduction of the failure rate, and wanted to increase the success rate. And I am very happy, although the numbers are preliminary, and we're still working on analyzing them further, specifically as it relates to subgroups. Want to make sure all of our students are successful. But if we look at 21-22, we are basically approaching the levels that are pre-COVID. So we're very, very excited to see that the success rate has increased considerably at CMI. We're going to push even for better results in the next semester. But definitely something I'm grateful for to our staff and our students and all the support we've received from our colleagues at the district to make this happen. The next thing I wanted to show to you, I'm really excited about, and I'm really grateful, I have to say, if I'm really speaking from the heart. The fact is that this district is truly unique in many ways. One, as a principal, you're trying to always find new ways to innovate and to bring new programs to help students find success. And I always found support here for that from all the offices here presented today. One of the really exciting programs that we're planning to bring to CMI directly targets this issue that students often talk about, and that's, oh, I'm bored, and we all heard it, or I'm not as motivated, right? We've all heard that. And so specifically as it relates to our 8th graders who struggle to transition to high school. And then when we talk about college and career being something that we want all of our students to aspire to, what are some of the tools that can help us to do that? And so Baxter and Patterson is a program that has designed college and career labs to excite and motivate our students about their future, and also gives them those soft skills that we all talk about all the time: collaborating, working together, communicating effectively, and so on. So I just wanted to show you literally a 30-second video that shows what some of our students, hopefully in the near future, will be able to do. And again, I'm very grateful for the support. So what you're seeing is different stations. Our students will be able to engage with different type of practical and college curriculum, different stations. They will be able to transition through these different stations throughout the course, over a semester or over a year, depending on how we design it. But you're seeing them being, this is just one of the modules. There are many different ones. We at CMI are selecting the specific modules that will support college and career modules that we have at the high school level, for example. So very, very excited to be able to work with everybody on bringing that to CMI and being the first school to demo that, so to speak, and see what we can learn from that. The second thing I'm really excited about also, and again, grateful to everybody who really supported us to bring this together, from the superintendent on down. We've all heard of soda vending machines, but have you ever heard of a book vending machine? So trying to be proactive and rewarding students for positive behavior. Also trying to encourage them to cultivate the love of learning, as well as help them to improve their literacy skills. So there's a program that I was able to find that's actually allowing students to receive a coin, and they can convert that coin for a book that they get to keep.
Book vending machine? Itchy's book vending machines help boost student engagement, behavior, and literacy. Your new book vending machine can serve as a perfect PBIS reward system or any behavioral reward system your school uses. With Itchy's one-of-a-kind tokens,
So every student is eligible to receive this coin, depending on the behavior that we're trying to incentivize at school.
to provide exciting rewards for your students. School faculty and the community have done some pretty amazing things to make the Itchy dream come true. Find out how Itchy's book vending machines can benefit your school. Call us today and start to reward.
So really excited to be able to bring this to our school and do something proactive and positive, and just really grateful for everybody's support to be able to innovate and just think proactively and support our students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Principal Milosevic. So we'll move now to item 9.1, which is invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Are there any comments on non-agendized items?
No public comments on non-agendized items, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you. We go now to 10.1, the consent calendar, approval of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed under the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trustee Freeman,
Second.
Trustee Vallejo. You can vote electronically now. On the vote being taken, that's 3 in favor with 2 absent. Next is written reports, 11.1, discipline for December 2021, monthly suspension reports. That's an information item. Next is action items, 12.1, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you can vote electronically. Vote being taken, 3 in favor with 2 absent. We move now to 12.2, personnel, classified personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
You can vote electronically now. On a vote being taken, it's 5 in favor with 2 absent. 12.3 is personnel, approval of salary rate increase for CMI program leader officials. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Trustee Vallejo, Trustee Freeman. Please vote electronically. On the vote being taken, 3 in favor, 2 absent. We'll move now to 12.4, curriculum, agreement with Patterson College for Career and Ready Lab at the California Military Institute, funded through the Local Accountability Plan Supplemental Concentration and Title I funds in the amount of $69,875.19, not the charter fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo, you can vote electronically. Any questions? Okay.
Hold on a second.
The vote is 3 in favor with 2 absent. Number 12.5 is business report of purchases. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vallejo, Trustee Freeman, please vote electronically. Upon the vote being taken, the vote is 3 in favor, 2 absent. Other items by the superintendent, 13.1.
The only thing I'd like to share, in December, we had the Paris Holiday Parade, and it was great to see the CMI cadets in there participating with the band and marching unit. They did a great job, and I want to congratulate Mr. Milosavljevic for that. And also thank him for having my son be a substitute teacher at your school. He's having a great time.
Okay, we'll go to other items by the Board of Trustees, 14.1. Other items by the trustees, Trustee Vallejo.
CMI never fails to amaze me. I love all the implementations that the staff is doing, and I really see the level of spirit that each student has, and I'm just very grateful for it. You guys are all doing awesome. Like, please keep on doing it. I see
the effort you guys are doing, and it makes me really glad that all of you guys are just so into student successes. And can I do the book vending machine thing? Because I want to do that. It seems really cool. So I would love to visit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you. I echo what Ms. Vallejo said about the book vending machine. I love the idea. I've always encouraged children to read, and when I've taught and when I'm doing it now, I buy books for the kids that I give them myself after I read them to the class. And this would be a lot less expensive for me.
Thank you, Trustee Freeman. And for myself, thank you. CMI has always been a leader in getting its kids to follow all the directions and participate in the programs. It really seems that you have a family there, and thank you so much for what you do, you and your staff, Mr. Milosevic. So, it's quite, it works. It really does. Okay. So at this time, we're going to move to 15.1, which is adjournment. This is the adjournment of the regular meeting of the California Military Institute for January 19th, 2022. Do I have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the California Military Institute? Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo, you can vote electronically. Yes, I did. Yeah. Stop. Well, reading from my screen, the vote is 3 in favor with 2 absent. The meeting is adjourned at 5:43 p.m. So now we'll switch over and go back to the regular board meeting. I believe you can join now. Okay. So welcome to the regular board meeting of the Paris Union High School District, reconvening at 5:44 p.m. We have item 8.1, revision and adoption ordering of agenda for January 19th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
But that's not what I have on my screen.
Yeah,
There it was.
there it is. Yeah. Yeah, there we can vote now. After the vote is taken, item 8.1 passes 3 in favor with 2 absent. So now we'll start with item 9.1, oral reports. Report out of closed session.
No report out of closed session this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you. Item 9.2, information item, district update by the superintendent.
I just have a few things this evening I wanted to share. We started the second semester, got off to a good start if we overlook the COVID numbers, but the kids are in class, the kids are able to be there in class, and things are being real positive, so we're happy about that. And we hope as we continue to move forward, the numbers will start dwindling and go down, and have more kids in class and more staff there also. A lot of people are struggling right now. This Saturday, we have our Liberty High School dedication ceremony on January 22nd at 10 a.m. in the gym over there. So anybody wants to come and join us and get a tour of the new digs. They started putting water in the pool today over at Liberty, so that their pool's done. So Paloma Valley will start using the Liberty Pool once it's, the water's warmed up. Right now it's a little cold. So that'll be coming up soon. Heritage High School hosted a robotics competition over the last couple weeks. They always do a good job of that, and it's great to see our kids be able to participate in those kind of activities. And the last thing I have, I just want to announce the employees of the year for the school district. Every school and site got to pick employees, and then out of that, we selected the people that would be district-wide. Our teacher of the year, we have two of them, Rachel Post from PALS. Teacher of the year, Sean Mohammed from Pinacati Middle School. Site Support Employee of the Year, Bevy Escobar, District Nursing Coordinator. With all the COVID stuff, she's been doing great work for us. Principal of the Year, Juan Santos from Paris High School. Counselor of the Year, Ben Washburn from Heritage High School. Confidential Employee of the Year is Helene Astorga, Administrative Assistant with Mr. Bruff over at SSC. Classified Employee of the Year is Patrick Jenkins, Campus Supervisor at Pinacati Middle School. Classified Administrator of the Year is Nick Hilton, Director of Human Resources. And our Certificate Administrator of the Year is Mr. Bob Bruff, Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. Congratulations, Bob. And our goal is to bring those people here next month to be able to present them to the board also. So that'll conclude my report for this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. We'll move now to item 9.3, student representatives to the Board of Trustees. So we have an absence. Trustee Nelson, President Nelson is not here. So I'll introduce Heritage High School student representatives. Michaela Jacobs and
Caden almost.
Caden Almost.
Mr. Bennett and members of the cabinet. We hope you had a great winter break and got to spend some quality time with family. My name is Kaden Olmos.
And I'm Michaela Jacobs. We're excited to show you what has been going on here at Heritage in the month of January. Robotics had numerous competitions during our winter break. They had a total of 6 teams competing, and during our winter break, they had a competition every Saturday. They have spent many days after school working and tweaking to place higher and higher each time they compete. Big shout out to their dedication and determination.
Our Lady Patriots were recently in an article in Menifee 24/7 about their amazing performance on and off the court. They are currently 13-3 for their record, and the team's average GPA is at 3.6, which is the highest it's ever been as a team with their record. A huge shout out to our Lady Patriots.
Here are a few upcoming events. Link Crew Movie Night, January 26th. Winter Rally, January 28th. Winter Formal, January 29th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. February 18th will be the final day to purchase all grad tickets, and your good man, Charlie Brown, to be determined.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for the continued support of what we do at Heritage. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next up we have Trustee Freeman will introduce Liberty High School student representatives.
I'd like to introduce the student representatives from Liberty High School, Moana Mao, and Samantha Sena. I
We'll
take
move
back
on.
the introduction.
Okay, we'll move on, and if it comes up in between, we'll get it in there. This next one is myself, Trustee Stafford. I'll introduce Paloma Valley High School students, representatives Cassie Madigal and Giselle Fipone.
And Superintendent Mr. Bennett, I am Cassie Magical. I am one out of two ASB social media representatives.
And I'm Giselle Fapon. I am one of the senior class representatives for ASB. For winter sports, we have competitive cheer, girls and boys wrestling, girls and boys soccer, girls water polo, and basketball.
Over winter break, as another current event, our Key Club members went and decorated a parade float for the Pasadena Rose Parade. It's so cute. It's a turtle. It's amazing. Good job.
Before winter break, we had our final spirit week. On Monday, we had our pajama day. On Tuesday, we had a class distinction day, which was Santa's workshop. On Wednesday, we had a Christmas wrap day. And on Thursday, we had our family Christmas card.
As we get back from winter break, we start our winter spirit week. On Tuesday, it was White Light Day. Wednesday, it was Adam Sandler Day, just as Adam Sandler. Thursday was Zoom Day, comfy on the bottom, cute on top. And Friday was Maroon Day.
For our upcoming events, we have our spring sports season. Some of those spring sports consist of boys tennis, boys golf, baseball and softball, and track.
We also have swim, boys and girls lacrosse, and boys volleyball. Including some other upcoming events are spring dance, our prom, and this weekend, on Saturday, January 15th, our RTC Battle Cats will be going off to compete at Ramona High School. Thank you and have an amazing day.
Thanks for watching. See you next month.
Next up, Trustee Vallejo, do you want to take this one? This is for an absence for Dr. Rao.
Yeah, please welcome student reps from the Paris Union High School, Jacqueline Castro and Abigail Nearing.
Good evening, President Valley Center board members, Superintendent Bennett, and Cabinet. I'm Jackie Castro, and this is Abigail Nearing. We're here tonight to present to you Paris High School. Unfortunately, Nicole and Daisy couldn't be here tonight, so we're filling in for them and wish them well. Now, Abby.
Because of winter break, honestly, not a lot has occurred on campus, but we have two things that we really wanted to share. The first is the winter formal. The theme was Fly Me to the Moon, which is pretty fitting considering it was at an airplane hangar. Before we left for break, we had the opportunity for the first time in 2 years due to the pandemic to hold an off-campus dance. The winter formal was a well-attended dance with a 99.1 guest DJ, catered food, and a photo booth. And we also got to celebrate our royalty winners. With COVID restrictions, we had to mix things up and take dancing outdoors while keeping the seating indoors. Here's some pictures from the night.
Boys soccer won the senior night game against West Valley 7-1. Some amazing highlights were 6 saves by Christopher Placencia, and goals were scored by 5 of the boys, along with awesome defense. Congratulations to our boys soccer for being league champs. Here are a couple pictures and videos of the game.
Okay, I think we're ready with Liberty. Am I correct, Sarah? Okay. Trustee Freeman.
I will reintroduce Liberty High School student representatives, Moena, I'm going to say Moo, and
members of the board,
Samantha.
Mr. Bennett, members of the cabinet.
Sana.
My name.
That's right.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Bennett, members of the cabinet. My name is Samantha Senna, and I am Liberty High School's ASB president. Beside me is my vice president, Moyana Moo. Here are some of the things that went on at Liberty High School in the past few weeks, as well as ongoing and future events.
On Monday, January 10th, LHS students participated in 3 digital citizenship lessons as well as 4 Heard lessons. After submitting a completed survey and a Flipgrid video, student responses will form their Heard crest. These crests will be printed and displayed in the LHS hallways.
As the year came to an end, we held some celebrations. Here are the employees of the year at LHS. Psych teacher of the year, Gabrielle Ladner-Neha. Counselor of the year, Xavier Padilla. Clerical Community Employee of the Year, Josie Delgado. Safety and Custodial Employee of the Year, Walter Snoose. Instructional Services Employee of the Year, Charlene Alvarez. And Nutrition Services, Sandra Piedra.
This concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for your support in helping Liberty High School continue to thrive.
Go Bison!
Okay, thank you, Liberty High School. I think we're at the bottom now, Brent. Okay, Trustee Vallejo.
Okay, please welcome Pinacati Middle School student reps Belinda Hain and Audrina Leon.
PMS. Pinacati Middle School Presentation 2022. What has happened in Pinacati Middle School, also known as PMS? Mr. Moreno. On December 16th, our ASB students wanted to welcome Mr. Moreno to the school and thank you for joining and helping out with the school. Field trip. Pinacati Middle School students had a field trip on December 10th to the movie theaters to watch El Canto. Students were able to go by filling out a Google form and purchasing their own ticket for 200 Puma points. Christmas Spirit Week. On the last week of school, before break, we had Christmas Spirit Week. All students were able to participate in this event. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning.
Okay, we'll move now to item 9.4, CSEA President Josh Rushing.
Mr. Rushing isn't here this evening.
Okay. We'll go now, information item, CSEA President Jason Miller. I'm sorry, PSEA. Okay.
Congratulations to the People of the Year. Congratulations, Bob. To some of the PSEA members, Sean Mohammed, Rachel Post, and one that used to be a PSA member and even an officer, Bevy Escobar, just an amazing employee. I wanted to come talk to you today about why we work, why the association and the cabinet work so well and smoothly together. And it's easy to say why we work, but I wanted to get into the nuts and bolts of how that happens. We've come a long way from the biblical times of PSEA when we took a scorched earth approach, not with me as president. When we go to conferences to talk to other associations are amazed on something that we do that is really not done at most schools. It is called the PRC and SRC. The PRC, or Parish Relationship Council, is where the association executive board and the PUHSD cabinet meet once a month to talk about anything that currently needs to be talked about. The SRC, or Site Relationship Council, is where site administration meets with PSEA site representatives to talk about local issues. The SRC-PRC process was started in biblical times for PSEA when a very different PSEA and a very different cabinet were having a lot of conflict. Besides just the whole meeting part, there is a well-refined structure for the PRC SRC process and a few major concepts that I would like to highlight for you tonight that could really be used for any group setting, indeed could even be used for individual relationships. One of the biggest tenets of the PRC SRC process is that we attack the problem, not the person. This ensures that we take a lot of emotion and personal assumptions out of the equation. Speaking of assumptions, we try to check our assumptions. In this day and age, a lot of assumptions are made about so many things and so many people. Just watch the news. And what you said earlier really resonated with that one for me. Quite often, these assumptions are inaccurate, and it is sad that so many people drive their philosophies, sometimes their whole lives, on false assumptions. So it's really important that when we talk with the cabinet, we're checking our assumptions. We either ask or we research those assumptions. Another important thing that we do is we try to come up with concrete solutions instead of just having a complaint session. There's other words for that. Here's the problem. Here's a solution, and that's what drives a lot of PRC, SRC, and our process. Also, when we are meeting, we deal with relationship issues over substance. If we're talking about an item and the discussion gets personal, which it often does not, discussion is postponed on the item to deal with the personal issue. Generally, this PRC-SRC process has been very successful in avoiding grievances and different complaints that associations traditionally use to solve problems. In my opinion, the SRC-PRC process is a more sophisticated tool that is more fruitful than just fighting. It addresses the issues so we are not fighting just for the sake of fighting, which can happen with some association representative types and virtually every association. We strive to replace that fighting with solving, improving, and moving forward. Thank you for this time to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We'll move now to item 9.6, comments by the Board of Trustees. We'll start with Trustee Vallejo.
I just want to say that I am always very glad to watch the videos of all the student reps from each school. It's really great to see how far we've come and what they have accomplished. So that's what that's what I love to see. I also want everyone to know that please follow the COVID protocols because I don't want to shut down. I love that a lot of students are still attending and doing what they want to do, and learning best is by being there. So I am very glad to have people that are following the rules and stuff, and I think students learn best when they're in person anyways, but I thank you for those that do listen. But in all, I know we all want the same thing, and we're all here for students and staff to just watch them grow and stay safe. So I am glad that we all have the same mindset here, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you. Well, I've been on the board here for 3 years, and believe me, it has been an experience. We have had so many issues that we've had to face and deal with that I couldn't have imagined when I ran for the board. I am very pleased with what Mr. Miller has said and what Mr. Rushing says when he speaks with us. I feel that this is a very positive relationship between the district and the group representatives. Such is not always the case. I know that I served 10 years on the Menifee board, and it wasn't always quite this peaceful. I think that we are going to get through this, and I believe that we will be much stronger for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Freeman. And for myself, I would like to thank all of our staff and our students for being so patient and able to learn the protocols and follow the standard operating procedures and learn to get along with things that will help us in the long run. This is difficult, and no one denies that. As far as the board, I really enjoy working with the board and with Superintendent Bennett and our cabinet. I think that you've gotten us through some really tough times, and I feel like we're prepared for anything. So thank you very much. Okay. So now we're going to move to our next item, 10.1, which is invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Are there any public comments?
We have two cards this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, I'll have to read the statement. Let's have some glasses. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons waiting to be heard. In addition, the president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that the additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. With that, we'll take our first speaker. Is Jade Leon.
Good evening, board, and Happy New Year. I know that you probably think I sound like a broken record, and that's fine because I know that I'm advocating for myself and also others. I've been trying to do my research on the effects of masking, which is incredibly difficult, but I did manage to find an article published by USC, and the article states, discontinue mask wearing for all students, vaccinated or not. The benefits of masking and preventing serious illness or death from COVID-19 among children is infinitely small. At the same time, they are disruptive to learning and communicating in the classrooms. They may be partially effective in shielding adults from COVID, but since when is it ethical to burden children for the benefit of adults? COVID-19 is less of a threat to children than accidents or the common flu. The survival rate among American children with confirmed cases is approximately 99.99%. I hope you know that my mom and I and everyone else that has spoken at the board meetings are not coming up here with made-up theories. Because right here in this article are professional people that are doing research and saying that masking for students is not good. Like this article says, why are you forcing students to wear masks that affect their learning ability to protect adults? I'm tired of putting my mask on not to protect myself, but to protect the adults around me. When adults are the adults in the situation. This is the logic also being applied to the vaccine. People are expecting children to get a medical experiment for the protection of adults. I've always been told that adults are grown-ups and that the people that are in charge of the situation. But now it seems like I'm being expected to be the adult in the situation. That's reversing everything I've been taught. I'm asking you to please give people their own choice to wear a mask. Let people that want to wear the mask wear it, and people that are making their own choice in the free country of America make their own choice. And also, Dr. Freeman, you said that it's okay to disagree, correct?
Correct.
So all I'm asking is I really hope that you truly meant that and that it's not falling just on deaf ears. I'm in the classroom, I'm learning, and I cannot focus and think, and I can't focus on my work and don't want to do it because I have something that's scratchy and itchy on my face and I can't breathe. And for me, that's really hard, especially for my mask when I'm deaf in my ear, and you can clearly see that my ear is deformed, and I'm having to try to work around that just to get the schooling that I need. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leon. Our next speaker will be Mrs. Emily Leon.
Good evening and Happy New Year. It's been a little bit of time. We couldn't make the December meeting because my daughter was kicking butt in a volleyball game, so we weren't here. But I'm sure you didn't miss us too much. Anyway, I'm here tonight. I wrote several things down. I don't even know that I'm going to read from what I wrote just because I need you to hear me from the heart as a mother. Obviously, the last year and a half has been difficult for everybody. It hasn't been easy on any one of us, and I don't think that it's been easy on you. I know you guys have faced many challenges, and there have been many difficult decisions. Piggybacking on Dr. Freeman's comment about it being okay to disagree, it really hasn't been okay to disagree since the pandemic started. We have come here, we have been made to feel badly about our stance on things. There have been comments that have been made. There are reports that are given to make it sound as though people like myself and my daughter don't care about other people, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. If you knew me, if you knew my heart, you know my heart is for people. It's for you guys as well. I keep you guys in my prayers regularly, praying that that first and foremost you know Jesus, and that beyond that, that you really, in your position that you're in, seek counsel and guidance, because right now there is a whole lot of information that's continually being censored. There is information, you guys, if you look at the VAERS data, we should not be vaccinating children. There are many experts, health experts, doctors, immunologists, people that are speaking out saying we shouldn't be doing this to children, and yet they're being censored, they're being silenced, they're being labeled as somehow inferior to other experts. And that's not how science works. Science is supposed to be experts from all different areas coming together, expressing things that they've observed, things that they have found in their own research, and that's not happening in any of this, and that should be startling to every single one of us. If you really want to know what's going on, you have to break away from listening just to mainstream media, reading just certain reports, because it's not painting the whole picture. Even if you dig enough on the CDC website, you'll see there are discrepancies and there are concerns. The VAERS system, no, it's not proven that that's what caused the issues, but that system was set up to be an early warning sign if there was something going on, and yet we're ignoring those early warning signs, especially for children, and it's not okay. And I just am here tonight to beg and plead with you to please, please go beyond what's being given to you and do your own research. It's hard to find, you do have to dig, but it is out there. I'm tired of seeing memes that make people like myself look like I'm somehow unintelligent and that I somehow am just following a meme on Facebook or doing this or doing that, when how is my research any less valid than someone else's research? Because mine says something different? That's not how research works. Okay, so I just beg of you as a mom, as a concerned parent, that you please branch out and start looking for things if you genuinely care about the health and safety of students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Leon. So we're going to go to an action item, 11.1, which is the consent calendar, approval of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve the items listed under the consent calendar?
So moved.
Trustee Vallejo,
Second.
Trustee Freeman. Any comments, questions? Okay, you can vote electronically. If up on the vote being taken, it's 3 in favor with 2 absent. We'll go now to oral reports. It's information item 12.1, curriculum COVID-19 update.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Mr. Stafford, members of the board, and Mr. Bennett. Have we got the presentation up? You know, this is a very trying time for all of our families, obviously, and you've all spoken of the challenges of the year we've had. You want me to go off airplay? Yeah, okay, sorry. DAC boardroom. I'm sorry, this is. Oh, Joe, why is it not working? 648. Well, let me try one more time. Same number? I got it. It's not going. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, it's on all of our hearts and our minds, so the numbers I'm reporting to you obviously are not good. As of last month on the 15th of December, there were 4,891,985 cases. And as of today, there are 6,812,354 cases. Huge increases. If we look at the death total, it has increased as well from 74,704 last month to 77,306 for the state of California. The positivity rate since 12/15 has gone from 2.2 to 21.1. So we're all aware of this. We're watching the news daily. We're living it in our schools. Our students are suffering. It's just a challenge that we are all dealing with. Why is it not going to the next one? Here's some county data. We currently have 1,078 people hospitalized. Includes 158 individuals in the intensive care unit. So our thoughts, prayers, good wishes go out to their speedy recovery. Our daily case rate, if you look in the lower right-hand corner there, per 100,000 is 256. So our county is a little higher than the state average at 34.9. That's for a 7-day average. It's, you know, these are daunting numbers. Again, if you look in the red here or in the black, you have the county metrics from December 15th, that there were 20.1 new COVID cases per 100,000. And now again, we have 256. So it's gone from 5.7 a month ago to 34.9. Just staggering month that we've had. So we're doing the best we can, and you know, we gotta stay strong, as you said, Mr. Stafford, and just persevere. And you spoke of our student resiliency, and you know, they're to be commended for how resilient they've been. And as you all know, that the governor, given this uptick in infection rate, has made a statewide mandate. So we're all adhering to this at the current time. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bruff.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
The last thing you said was that the governor has made the mandate about wearing masks. What would be the result if we did not follow that mandate?
You know, I think that's a medical question. I don't know that I'm.
I mean, is there any consequence from the state? Is there any consequence from the state for disobeying the governor's mandate?
As a district, or as a for
district,
individuals?
As a district.
You know what, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that. I think when the governor makes a decree, we have always complied with those decrees, and we don't explore what would happen if we didn't follow what our leaders.
My understanding has been that any district that does not adhere to the governor's mandate is subject to possible funding loss. And I believe that that is the case.
I was not aware of that. Forgive me, I don't know.
I've
the
I've
facts
read
on it.
about it in other places. I know, yeah, as we've heard from a lot of people over the last several months, people are not happy. And I'm certainly not. I'm working with a 4th grade class of 28 wonderful 9 and 10-year-olds. They don't know how to wear their masks properly. And I don't say I blame them, but at least they'll wear it like that, you know, it covers their mouth and not their nose. I know there's problems with it. You know, I can't read with my glasses when I'm wearing my mask because it causes my glasses to fog up. So I have to make some adjustments for that. But I do know that I am required, working with these children, to be wearing a mask, and they are also required. We hand them a mask on when they come into the school, if they don't have one. None of them have given any difficulty about it, other than the fact that some of the younger ones don't really know how to wear them that well. But even with that, we've got people with masks, we've got people with vaccinations. The school that I'm at right now, which has 3 teachers per grade level from grade 6 through kindergarten. What's that, 3 times 7 is 21? So that's, and 5 of those teachers are out, 2 or 3 of them with COVID. And we had so many staff people missing yesterday when we had the little bit of a sprinkling that the principal had pointed out that if we had had to declare inclement weather, we wouldn't have had enough people to cover it. I've had children, 4th graders, back and forth, who have had to be gone because they had COVID or because they had the exposure to it. And we have the requirement. You stated it, you put it up there. There are consequences if we don't adhere to that. And it's like I've said before, you know, I'm free to disagree. You know, people agree to disagree that we can do that. Our experiences are different. I think that in individual cases, we could probably make some kind of accommodations for people with special. Don't we have that kind of thing, Mr. Bennett? Don't we have the availability to make accommodations for special cases that would have specific problems?
If they have an individualized health
Right.
plan, something like
Okay.
asthma or other breathing concerns, yes, there are mitigating
The
circumstances.
final thing is, you know, it is difficult to sit up here, and it's difficult to be up there talking. And I'm probably gone beyond what I'm supposed to be doing right now, but I figure I'm speaking from the spirit of it instead of the legality of it. That, yes, there are things for individuals that require something special. And part of our responsibility is to find what we can do to accommodate those people. But we still have to adhere to the mandate. And one thing that I believe strongly is that if I choose to do something and it's only going to affect me, then I make the choice that affects me, and anybody else has the same. But if I'm going to be making a choice that is going to negatively affect any other person, then I have to weigh what I see against that consequence. So that doesn't make it a very clear-cut decision. You know, I can't, in my own mind, choose to do something that I know is going to affect somebody else in a negative way. For instance, if I come down with COVID, I have to stay away from my whole family, and that includes the dogs. You know, I mean, that's not very easy to do when they're following you everywhere around. At school, I wouldn't be able to be there at all until such time, because I'd be placing others at risk, especially those 9 and 10-year-old kids. And I would do anything personally to see to it that nothing happened to those kids as a result of something that I might have done. So I appreciate your regular reports. You give it to me, you give it to us with the facts and everything that's written down there, and I appreciate that you don't put in any particular bias that you might have into it, like I know I would have if that had been me over there. So that's all I have to say.
It's a challenging time. We all look forward to the time when it's past us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bruff and Trustee Freeman. We'll go now to 12.2. It's an information item, curriculum, Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium, and English Language Proficiency Assessments for California update. Okay, Mr. Tippy.
Good evening, Vice President Stafford, and honorable members of the board, Superintendent Bennett, district cabinet members, and the public. I have the pleasure of sharing our annual update for goal number 1 for the LCAP, so we'll go ahead and jump right in here. Goal number 1 pertains to proficiency in ELA and math for all of our students. Ms. Earl presented on goal number 2 a couple of meetings ago, and then you'll have subsequent updates from the rest of our team in the upcoming months for goals 3 and 4. There are several metrics tied to the outcomes for goal number 1. Unfortunately, in the 2021 school year, the California Department of Education will not calculate those, the dashboard, because of the challenges with distance learning and with COVID. These are the outcomes for the 2023-24 school year that we strive to achieve by that time. And those are all tied to, once again, the state dashboard, everything listed out here. We also have some other metrics that are tied to this, fully credentialed teachers. That data will come out by the CDE in a couple months. And then we also have some reflective tools that we look at in terms of our instructional delivery. Really important items of significance. I've been working with Mr. Bruff and our team on how to present this information to you. It's very challenging. There's some items of significance. The first one being the 2020 school year itself. I have a non-linguistical representation here. If you kind of focus to the middle of the screen, those are actually shoes that are attached to my 9th grader's feet. And no kidding aside, he was actually hiding from distance learning. That was a picture from August of 2020, and just kind of highlights how difficult the school year was. I'd be lying through my teeth if I said the first semester went any better after that. So it was just a very challenging time in my household. I know a lot of parents, students, teachers had a really hard time with 2021 school year. CDE fully aware of that. So all of the data that they have released, they have test cautions to really be careful when we look at this data, understanding the reality that our students and staff are in. Everything that pertains to goal number 1 on these metrics are from the 2021 school year, so we have to keep that in mind. So there's no official accountability from the state for 2021. Districts were given flexibility by the state to take different assessments, so they could have taken the Smarter Balance assessment, they could have taken local assessments. Our district did choose to administer the state assessment, but even that test was shorter. They cut off about an hour in each content area, which leads to challenges with reliability and validity on the results. So another really important part of this, participation rates. Last year, we had about 60% of our students complete the assessments. In a typical year, that number is more around 96%. So it's very difficult to compare the data from last year to previous years when we did test, so we just want to keep that in mind. There's also, I mentioned before, the English Learner Progress Indicator. So this is a metric that looks at progress of our English learners. It looks at both the reclassification rate, so students transitioning from English learner services to no longer needing those services. And then it also looks at the LPAC results. So some big things on that. The CDE did not calculate the LP for the reasons I mentioned before. Reclassification rates in 21 were affected because of the school closures in 2020 and the lack of test scores. So reclassification depends on the LPAC for students. They have to have a 4 on the LPAC to reclassify, and we also use the CAS results for that. Students didn't get to take those tests in 2020, so that kind of lowered our rate. Our 2021 LPAC testing results, we spent a tremendous amount of time and labor to make sure that we did test all of our students on the LPAC. Federal legislation requires that we test all of our English learners every year on the LPAC, and there was no flexibility in that. So we were literally testing kids in all of June and July, testing up until July 31st. We had an 83% participation rate, including grades 5 through 12. We had a challenging time getting our seniors tested. They graduated in June and did not want to come back and complete those tests. So 92% of our students were tested in grades 5 through 11, which is important on this part because we did get the bulk of our students tested. So our district reclassification rates, looking into the current school year, as I mentioned earlier, 2021 was affected by the lack of test scores from 2020. So reclassification rates are typically about a year behind because of the test scores from the previous year. In our current school year, 21-22, we're already on track to kind of get back to where we should be. We're at 8.5%. We've reclassified over 150 students currently, and we still have at least 30 students right now in the process of going through reclassification. So I'm hoping that number is above 10% by the end of the school year, and I'm pretty confident it will be. Our 2021 LPAC results, we did score better than the state and the county. So our scores are in that first column right there, Paris Union High at about 15.14%, level 4. The state was about 14% and Riverside County 11.4. So we did pretty well compared to the state and other districts on that. The chart on the left shows our scores from 2018-19. You can see that 20.74% of our students reached the benchmark score of a level 4 in 2019 compared to 15.14% in 21. So we did see a 5% decrease on the LPAC scores. We attribute that to the challenges of 2021. I had the pleasure of working with teachers and students in June and July and to get the testing done, so I talked to a lot of kids. And we did have students that we called some families 15 times to get their kids in to take this important test, and some of the kids hadn't been in school for a month. So, it was quite expected for a decline. I'm really hoping we have better scores this year, and I think we will. SBAC results, so these are the English Language Arts Assessment scores that are given to all students. We did relatively well we did better than the county. You can see more green and blue there. And pretty close to the state in ELA. Math, we did about the same as the county, not as good as the state. That does combine scores from grades 3 through 8 and grade 11, and kids typically score better in the elementary school level, grades 3 and 4. So it's kind of expected. These charts, they show scores from 2018-19 on the left-hand side. Both ELA and math. So the chart on the left-hand side, or at least the left-hand side of the chart there, in 2018-19, 43.4% of the students scored a 3 or a 4 in ELA, 19.25% in math, and then if you look at the other side, 48% in ELA and 21.09% in math. So ELA increased approximately 5%, math about 2.5%, and we're going to see this is pretty similar in the subgroup data, so I'm going to move through that kind of fast. We have our Black African American students, very similar, 34.5% to 39%, so about a 5% increase. Math was about a 4% increase. We have our Hispanic Latino students, very similar numbers, increases here. Our English learners, similar increases, about 4% in ELA and 1% in math. One thing to highlight here, you're looking at these numbers going, how do we go from 35% proficient to 4% proficient? This number only looks at our English learners, so kids that are currently ELs. We have to really look at the next slide to get a better understanding of this. The dashboard, when it does report, it will combine English learners with our recently reclassified fluent English proficient students. So what happens here is when students get to that standard nearly met level, then they end up getting reclassified and they get moved into this subgroup. So these are students that used to be English learners. They tested out of the EL program and no longer require services. So this subgroup increased by about 4%, and it's important to note that our RFET students who used to be English learners outperformed the overall subgroup by about 10%. So that's something to celebrate. And then our students with disabilities, similar increases as the other subgroups. And, you know, it's kind of difficult for me to report on this because I'm the testing guy and test scores are supposed to be important, but after last year, you know, a lot of the social emotional things that we've been working on have been more important. So challenges that we saw last year, definitely attendance for students. We reduced the instructional time, so kids didn't get as much instruction as they would in a typical year. Remote testing, we had teachers at home administering the test to students at home, and trying to troubleshoot that was very challenging. And then, of course, the participation rates make it difficult for the data interpretation. Successes, we had our EL Federal Program Compliance Review in August during the first week of school, which was cruel and unusual punishment. But we did get through that. We cleared 38 out of 39 items, and we're working on correcting the one item that we did get a finding for, which was we didn't have all of our students scheduled in designated ELD classes, but that's taken care of. So that's definitely something to celebrate. It was a lot of work at a difficult time. We were able to give our students increased credit recovery options in the summer school, and then I think we've done a great job with the focus on social and emotional learning, because as I mentioned before, I think there were a lot of kids hiding under their bed last year and just trying to get through the year and survive a challenging time. So with that, I can take any questions. Yes, sir.
I have one. I noticed that one of your metrics had to do with 100% credentialed teachers, which is amazing considering all the challenges of the shortages. My question would be related to that, and that is substitute teachers. Sometimes I think we're lucky if we get anybody. I know that I've had kids split and sent to me. I'd have fifth graders come over and spend a day with me, and I expected to do something with them while I'm doing it with the fourth graders. And I have to wonder how successful, or is it even possible to measure how many qualified substitute teachers that we have covering for those credentialed teachers when they're not there. Now, I know we've got one over there. Yeah, but I'm just curious because that would be something that I think would really help to publicize the difficulties that we are dealing with.
Absolutely.
And honestly, it's not just us. It's every district in the state of California, and it's not just teachers, but this is related to that. So I just think that's something that would be interesting for me to be able to see how we're doing in something like that.
And if you don't mind, I would phone a friend.
So I appreciate you recognizing that, Dr. Freeman. We do have 100% of our classroom teachers are fully certificated. When it comes to substitute teachers, they're also certificated, but they have a 30-day permit. So the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing allows for, in a normal setting, allows for that person to be in an individualized classroom for a limited period of time. But there's been two significant changes that have happened recently through the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. And one is that previously there was a delay on retired teachers that wanted to come back and substitute.
Yeah,
are
6
fully
months.
credentialed. Yeah, and now that has been lifted to allow teachers to come back sooner rather than later to help fill some of those shortages in terms of substitutes. The other thing is the CTC has also limited the length of time that a substitute teacher is in a single classroom to help address shortfalls. And then third, and this is kind of the significant one, it gets to the heart of the question that you asked, and that is that previously to be a substitute teacher in any school district in California, you had to have a bachelor's degree, you had to have passed the CBEST, California Basic Skills Test, and then you could apply for that. Well, they've lifted that requirement as it relates to the CBEST as well, and there are some provisions with that that we've worked with and stuff. But so some of our new substitutes that we have do not have that CBEST, but on the other side of it, some of the other new substitutes we have are recently retired teachers that are fully credentialed. And so over the course of this year, you've seen, if you've gone to any of our school sites, you've seen that or any of our sites in general, you see that we have banners that we're hiring for substitutes. So from the beginning of the year until now, we've tripled the amount of active subs that we have within our district to help minimize the number of unfilled positions that we have. But each and every position that we have is either filled with a person that is fully credentialed and a veteran teacher, or is with someone that has a 30-day permit to teach in that. So,
Thank you. That was a good lifeline.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tippy. So we'll go to item 12.3, curriculum, semester 1 grade update.
Okay. We have to bring you a lot of bad news in the last year and a half, and Ms. Zerold and I have been kind of excited all week because as we prepared for this one, we get to bring you some very encouraging news. You talk about our student safety, you talk about our student resiliency, the work that we have in covering classes, and how are our students doing as they've returned from distance learning. It's really important that we look at some grade data. This year, our focus was really on decreasing failing grades. We've reported out to you previously that in 2021, you said earlier that you believe that being in person is much better for kids. What you're going to see tonight validates that on every level. Sadly, students failed in our district 37,285 courses. That's a staggering number. 27.2% of their courses. I mean, there were times I wanted to climb under my bed, right? So what did we do as they returned? Well, our focus was on student mental health, on wellness. We've reported that out to you before with the wellness rooms, the the new social workers, the extra counselors, the mental health focus. But all of that was to ultimately help with academics. And our second goal, or these are two tied together, was reduction of the failure rate. To do that, I want to congratulate or thank Ms. Zerold and several people that worked on our team, but they really worked to revamp the PLC process. That's where teachers come together and collaborate. And we wanted them to be very focused and just looking at and monitoring the failure rate and looking for interventions. We also worried about something called intervention fatigue, meaning if you're a student and you have 7 different classes during the day and each teacher is offering, out of the goodness of their heart, 10 different interventions, it's like almost too many interventions. Thanks for the help, but I can't keep up with all the help. So we wanted to avoid that. We asked each department to come together, collaborate, and pick one really meaningful intervention that they believed in, and then monitor the efficacy when they met each week of that intervention. The data you're going to see, our goal was to reduce this from 27.2 this year by 7%. This first semester, we've already reduced it by 9.9%. So Ms. Zerold is going to take you through some subgroups and each school, but every this isn't just teachers. This is teachers, administrators, counselors, classified people, the campus supervisors lifting that kid up during the day. I mean, there's a million different interventions that have occurred every moment of the day that have led to some student success that we're really proud to report out today.
So I get to take you through and look at our 4 core content areas. And I'm going to kind of frame with language arts kind of what you're going to see as we go through the rest of the presentation. So on the left side, you're going to have last year's data. On the right side, you're going to have this year's data. And where you really want to focus on is on the red and the blue and the green. So when you see the red, you want to see it much smaller on the right side, which when you compare the left and the right, you see a pretty significant decrease when you're looking at that F rate. And then you're seeing some improvements in that blue and green area. So really seeing some shifts in how we're seeing our grades looking in each of the content areas. So then when we look at our overall pass rate, the pass rate is up above. So that's the percentage of students that are passing per grade level. And what I want you to notice is on the left side, you'll see lighter colors. So when you see the darker colors, that means it's an improvement. So when you're looking at the right side and you see those light colors, you know there's a significant increase in how students are doing by each of those grade levels. And as we went through this, there was like some significant eye-openers when you looked at different grade levels and the struggles students were having. And as you go through the different grades and the different subject areas, you're going to see some significant differences in how well students are doing. Like that's a really significant shift when you look at our juniors for language arts, 62% to 79%. That's a pretty big jump. And then when you compare the number of Fs students received, it was 34% last year and 19% this year. So then we're going to look at the same exact thing, just with our subgroups. You're going to see special ed right now, and then in the next slide, you're going to also see our EL students. So you'll see as well that we had a significant decrease from 36% of students receiving Fs down to 19%. And then up above, you'll see that breakdown by grade level. When we look at the EL data, you'll also see that 10% decrease this year when you're comparing that data, and some really significant shifts. You know, we had some students grade levels in the 50s, all the way moving up to the 70s, some getting into the 80s. So that's really significant to see that growth for our EL students. We know how important it is for our EL students to be able to communicate with their teacher, interact with other students, and it shows when we see those shifts in the failure rate. And then now we got to look at our different schools. So you'll see last year's percentage of failing grades compared to this year's failing grades. And when you look at all across, these are our comprehensive high schools, our traditional schools, and you'll see that difference, that significantly doing much better, being face-to-face, working with teachers, being with their fellow students. Now we're going to look at math. Similar comparison. Left side is last year, right side is this year. And that significant difference in that red portion is, I think, the most important to take a look at, is you'll really see some of those significant drops. You know, looking at an average of, 8 to 10% for each of the grade levels. And then we look at the comparison of the pass rates, going from 34% Fs down to 23% Fs, and some of those really significant jumps from the 60s into the 80s of passing grades. And again, special ed, the comparison, this is a really significant difference, 42% Fs down to 26% Fs, and you'll see those really significant jumps from the 50s up into the 80s as well. And then math, looking at the EL population, 48% down to 35%. You'll look at some of those numbers. 37% of 10th graders passed their math class that were EL students. Like, that's really low. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do when we look at they're only 44% now. But seeing that there is growth happening in each of those grade levels. And then looking across the board at our math data, you'll see that there's significant shifts down in the failing grades as well for each of our schools. And then we look at science data. Similar results when you look at that comparison from the red portion on each of the graphs, all the way down to 7% from 30%. That's a really significant shift. For our 8th graders, 23 down to 8 for our seniors. So some significant shifts when we look at that science data. And then again, looking at the overall pass rate and the F rate, 29% Fs down to 17% Fs. I think overall, as we go through the presentation, I think almost every subject had at least a 10% decrease in that F rate. And then looking at special ed, 39% of students had Fs down to 24%. And looking at our 10th grade group, 54% of our 10th graders passed classes last year in science. This year, almost 80% first semester. So big jump in the science as well. And I think that really speaks to being in a classroom, hands-on activities, participating in labs. I think it's really significant when you can have those hands-on experiences, and that understanding is a lot more significant when you can do it in person rather than trying to watch a lab online or trying to watch a video that's supposed to show you what exactly is supposed to happen when two chemicals come together or something like that. So having kids in classrooms and working with teachers, I think, is really important. And then our EL data, 46% down to 24%. Again, just having that interaction with their teacher and other students and really working not only on the content, but also their communication and language skills as well. And then overall, looking at our science data, some significant drops in that F rate as well. And then finally, social science. Again, looking at this, look at our 7th grade group. I think this is what really stuck out for me in social science was 7th grade. These are students that have not been on our campus. So last year when they were in distance learning, they'd never been in Paris Union High School District's district. They were coming from our feeder district. They hadn't set foot on a campus yet. And so looking at that, 49% down to 11%, that's huge. And it just really attributes to the community that is developed when students are on campus. And then looking at our overall social science data, 30% failure rate down to 17%. 7th graders, again, 51% last year, up to almost 90% this year. Significant jumps in that social science area. And then for special ed, 38% down to 26%. Same kind of similarities when you look at the grade breakdown for the subgroup as well. 50% up to 70% for 10th graders, 56% up to 85% for our 7th graders. EL, we went from 39% failure rate down to 28%. 7th grade for our EL students, 40% up to 85 or 86%. So some really significant shifts, as low as 40% in some areas. And so that importance of making sure that we're having opportunities to work with our EL students in person. And then looking at our overall social science data, a decrease in all of our schools as well. And you'll notice Liberty is not included in this, and that's just because they had no students last year. There's no comparison data. So as we go through this, we will have some comparison data for them as well.
So as I spoke that, all of our employees deserve so much credit, I think we should say that the board also deserves some credit. We presented to you like the ELO plan, extended learning opportunities, and those were dollars aimed at creating opportunities to help kids bounce back. You graciously approved those, and that's created lots of credit recovery opportunities. We gave you a comprehensive report of the summer school grades, which were astounding. Kids really bounced back. But those dollars, we built master schedules that created extra classes for teachers. Many of our teachers have given up their prep period and are teaching. Some of our principals have been very innovative. But we've had 1,769 credit recovery classes completed. And that's over 8,000, or that's exactly 8,845 credits have been recovered this semester. So I want to focus on that word recovery, because while it has been fun to report out some good news, I almost feel like a chairman of the Fed or something. Like coming out of a depression, it's great when the numbers are looking better, but that doesn't mean that everybody's living high on the hog and good times are here again. So in 2021, we've talked about how that rate was abysmal, 27.2. Our goal there in yellow was that by the end of this year, we would reduce that by 7. We've far exceeded that if you jump up to the blue. This first semester, we've already had a reduction of 9.9. And the green, where do we move next? We hope to do as well second semester because we've already exceeded our goal for the year. But we should keep in mind that pre-COVID, the number was 14%. So again, it looks like we're out of the depression, and our students are recovering, but they are coming back, as we've said, with trauma, with huge learning gaps and learning loss, and they're resilient, but they're struggling. And the goal ultimately is to continue the course and offer these interventions and hopefully get, you know, as quickly as we can back to the pre-COVID state and then improve on that. So it's good news, but we're certainly not out of the woods. We have a lot of work to do. But we can answer any questions that you may have.
Guess what?
Yes, sir. Mr. Freeman.
I'm very excited to see this data as it relates particularly to the transition from the virtual learning to the in-person, and the fact that you've added the socio-emotional learning with it. What I'm looking at is in order to continue to improve, we're going to have to be looking at other variables as well. And I'm wondering what possible other factors could be I mean, I don't think it's strictly that transition. I think there's more to it than that, and hopefully I think it still has a lot to do with the teachers. But I'm wondering what other factors are you looking at, or have you been thinking about that might be helping us to continue with this improvement?
Factors that contribute to student success?
Yeah, because I know we've already done the transition. I mean, so
Sure.
that variable there is now non-existent for going out forward.
Yeah. Well, that's such a complex question, and it's one our team meets. It's the ongoing question, right? And it's really not any one of these things, I believe, but continuing all of these things. We need to get our kids more engaged in the school culture. You know, things as simple as we're filling a pool today. Kids are going to be swimming again soon and be excited to be swimming in a new pool. That makes you want to come to school, and that makes you want to. So, I mean, that question, sir, is like the work of my lifetime. I don't know how to answer that. I
Job
could
security.
spend an hour, and there's hundreds of dissertations on that question.
Okay.
But it is the one we need to continue asking ourselves, what more can we do? What can we bring our students? How can we entice them, engage them, support them, look at their deficiencies, and help them bridge these gaps? So I think I'm rambling now. I'll stop.
No, it's all right. I get the idea that you are working on it. I mean, it's not something to say, okay, we got the transition, we got the percent down, now we could do.
No, and I would just add that, you know, the focus for second semester, on top of what we've already been doing, is we are really focused on trying to establish that culture again on our campuses and working with some outside groups to come in and really bring kids together and create some leadership. You know, we're used to having those seniors as our leaders on campus. They were 10th graders the last time they were on campus. So they don't have that leadership ability like they would if they had already kind of gone through the grade levels and been experienced some of those things. And so we're bringing some support on to help work with our kids develop that pride in their campus. You know, when kids really have pride in their campus, they work together, they come together to fix problems together as a campus. And so we're really excited about some of the things that we're going to be working on. And I think that's going to help influence, you know, some of the grades as well. I think the attendance is going to improve because kids are going to want to be on campus. I think that just feeling good about where you're at really helps improve grades as well.
I like the comment about the seniors, the fact that they didn't have the chance to develop all those leadership skills. Any thought to giving to probably bring back some recent graduates that might help you in assisting them bring to that?
Part of the ELO plan that was approved was to bring back tutors that are going to college now and some of our kids. That's proved rather challenging with the job shortage and everything else. And so, yep, that's certainly a goal, and we will continue to strive to make that happen.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are the students still on distance learning and Scholar Plus? Are they incorporated into these numbers?
So Scholar Plus is a more complicated endeavor. So many students, you know, there was a state law saying you could go to distance learning. So Scholar Plus has increased their numbers significantly.
Yeah.
They're seeing increases as well. Where we're seeing not as good increases over in the lake, where sadly some students had to go to a credit recovery model and not a direct instruction model. And when we had to make choices like that, we do see students struggling, and then the data isn't as good. So, yeah, it's and those are our most at-risk students. So it is a challenge there.
So the data is not included in that, and part of it is...
Did I not answer the question?
No, you're fine.
Julie got
I totally understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't understand it.
No, so part of the data, that part is not included. So Paris Lake is on the quarter system, not on semester system. So putting the comparison in with the rest of the schools doesn't really fit. And then when you look at Scholar Plus, a lot of how they acquire credit in their grades is based on how much progress they're making in Edmentum, or the online program. And that doesn't resonate the same way into the data as, because their grades post when they complete their course, not necessarily at the same time frames as the comprehensive schools.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, they're working at their own pace. You could complete more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
less, depending on how motivated you are. Sorry, I think my director saved me there. She understood your question better than I did.
Yeah,
Thank
she,
you.
She hit it right on the head there. That was right.
Any others?
Any other questions?
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to move now to, I think, 13.1. Yeah. 13.1. My computer didn't refresh. Hold on. Okay, 13.1 is the information item, general functions, Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report, the summary for October through December 2021. Okay. We'll move now to action items, 14. Oh, I'm missing one. Oh, 13.2 is discipline for December 22, monthly suspension report, information item. 14.1 is an action item. Resolution number 14-21-22, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Paris Union High School District approving and adopting an adjusted trustee area plan following the release of the 2020 census data. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Trustee Vallejo?
Second.
Trustee Freeman. Any questions on this one?
I just comment, every 10 years, we are required to reevaluate our trustee areas, of which there are 5. And we did find that there was some imbalance that had to be adjusted, so we had to do some little bit of tweaking. I like that, yes. And so we are then at a more appropriate level so that each of us is so-called constituents, or whatever you want to call them, the ones that elect us, are close to each other in number. Did I say that okay? Oh. Thanks, teacher.
And legally compliant.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason we had voted on it last month, we brought it back, the demographer found that she had made an error in balancing the, leaving out about 300 people out of Ms. Vallejo's area. So we putting those in, it made it even closer. Each of the 5 trustee areas are closer than they were previously.
Okay.
So we didn't want to just not do anything with that. It's important for us to
didn't
make
wanna
sure our
leave you
data is
short.
correctly.
Sorry.
Okay. Any further questions?
No.
No? Okay. You can vote electronically. $14.1, the vote is 3 in favor and 2 absent. So we'll now go to 14.2, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on certificated personnel action items? No? Okay, you can vote electronically. The vote is 3 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, moving on to 14.3, classified personnel action items. Before,
Yeah, we need to pull 2 items off this classified personnel action item. We need to pull item 2.8 and 2.16.
okay, and I believe we know which positions and what that's for. Okay. Okay, you can make your motions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you can vote electronically. .3 classified personnel action items passes 3-2 with 2 absences. 14.4 is a personnel action item, approval of tentative agreement between the Paris Union High School District and the Paris Secondary Education Association. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo. Any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. .4 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. 14.4 is approval of hourly rate. This is a action item. Rate increase for peer group counselors, avid tutors. 14.
Go ahead.
Okay, 14.5, approval of hourly rate increase for peer counselors and avid tutors. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Vallejo.
Second.
Trustee Freeman. Questions, comments? You can vote electronically. .5 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. Next we have 14.6, personnel action item, approval of salary increase for the California School Employees Association and its chapter Paris Valley number 6469. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vallejo, Trustee Freeman. Any questions, comments? Okay, you can vote electronically. .6 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. Next is 14.7, personnel action item, approval of salary increase for classified employee trainee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Freeman, Trustee Vallejo. You can, any questions? You can vote electronically. .7 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. 14.8 is a personnel item. It's a personnel action item, approval of salary increase for management and confidential employees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Vallejo.
Second.
Trustee Freeman. Any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. .8 personnel passes 3 with 2 absence. Okay, 14.9 is personnel action item. It's amendment to employee contracts, Deputy Superintendent, Business Services, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, Assistant Superintendent, Educational Services, and Executive Director of Technology. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo. Any questions, comments? None? Okay. You can vote electronically. And 14.9 passes 3-0. 3 in favor, 2 absences. Okay, our next item is 14.10, personnel action item. It's superintendent's amendment to employee agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vallejo, Trustee Freeman. Any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. One to vote being taken.
Second here.
Oh,
There we go.
it's 3 in favor with 2 absent. Okay, 14.11 is curriculum. Approval of supplemental materials for the current mathematics course, advanced algebra with financial applications, funded through the California Lottery Fund at a total cost not to exceed $100,000, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo. Any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. Okay, 14.11 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. Next one is 14.12, Building and Grounds. Ratification of agreement with Atlas Technical Consultants, LLC, for special inspections and testing services for the Heritage High School Aquatic Center project, funded through various facilities funds in the amount of $247,000, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. Um, 14 point. It was 12. Okay. 14.12, Building and Grounds passes 3 in favor, 2 absent. 14.13 is an action item. Buildings and Grounds, award of bid number 121-421 to Millar Heating and Air and FM Thomas Air Conditioning Incorporated for the HVAC services and repair district-wide, funded through routine maintenance in the amount not to exceed $200,000, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo, any questions, comments? You can vote electronically. .13 passes 3 in favor with 2 absent. Our next item is an action item, 14.14, business. Disclosure of collective bargaining agreement, AB 1200, for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024, with the Paris Secondary Educators Association. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? You can vote electronically. .14, business passes 3-0 with as 2 absences. So 14.15 is an action item, business. Disclosure of collective bargaining agreement with AB 1200 for the period of July 1st through June 30th, 2024 with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 469. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, questions, comments? You can vote electronically. The vote was 3 in favor with 2 absences. 14.16 is, okay. 14.16 is report of purchases for December 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman, Trustee Vallejo, any questions, any comments? You can vote electronically. .16 passes 3 in favor with 2 absences. Next item is a information item. It's business revolving cash report for December 2021. The next item is 16.1, closed session if necessary.
Not necessary this evening, Mr. Stafford.
Okay. So we'll skip 17, reconvene. Now we'll go to 18.1, other items by the superintendent.
The only other thing I'd like to share is just hoping people can make it out to Liberty on Saturday morning. It's going to be a great event. It's going to get to see what we were able to do from the support from our local community, both Paris, Menifee, Nuevo, and Romoland. And the other thing, I want to thank the Board of Trustees for extending the contracts for my cabinet and myself, showing that we have the trust that we're doing the right things and we're going to continue to move the district. So thank you for that.
Okay. Number 19.1 is other items by the Board of Trustees. Trustee Vallejo.
Just hope everyone has a great rest of the semester, and I hope you all stay safe. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Freeman.
I have nothing more to add at this time, sir.
Okay, thank you. And myself, I just would like to thank the board that we were able to be here to have a quorum and get through today's meeting. And I look forward to seeing you all at Liberty High School. That's a long time coming. So now we'll move to 20.1, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Vallejo, Trustee Freeman. Any further comment? Anyone?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, you can vote electronically. That for 20.1 adjournment passes 3 in favor with 2 absences.
Yay.
Okay, at 7:21, we are adjourned.
Yay.